Now I want you all to consider this quote from Vicky Kirk very carefully. Vicky says, "Is risking the lives of those around you and people you know really worth trying to save money, no matter how much money it is? Would you be okay with risking the lives of others just because you were afraid you might have to spend money on something? Because I wouldn't, and neither would she." Now, imagine you and your friends are on a Sunday drive going around town, having fun, singing the latest song, just gossiping and eating some food. It's a great time. But all of a sudden, your life literally flashes before your eyes. You are hit on impact and ejected from your car. My name is Cassie Alexander, and I am a current resident here in Pleasant Hill, and I'm going to show you how this intersection that we all love and come to know as our home can be dangerous and cause accidents just as this. And I'm going to prove to you why Pleasant Hill needs to implement stoplights in the town. First, we will look at dangerous intersections without stoplights. Second, why Pleasant Hill needs to implement a stoplight. And finally, how we can effectively achieve road safety. Let's get started and talk about intersections without stoplights. All across America, there are plenty of stoplights and intersections in places that don't have the proper equipment needed to make our citizens safe. And according to LucyIdolCenter.org, the intersection is a #1 place for accidents to occur. And these accidents result in undesirable consequences such as death and injury. And according to InjuryFacts.org, in 2016 alone, there were 40,000 deaths. 40,000 deaths that resulted from car accidents. That's 40,000 lives that we could have possibly saved if we would implement the proper road safety equipment. And this just goes to show that the most experienced drivers and the most experienced people on the road can soon become just another statistic like the 40,000 other people in a matter of a second, in a matter of a blink of an eye, all because we did not properly equip our roads. Now let's move on to the second point and talk about why Pleasant Hill should implement a stoplight. Throughout our town's history, we have all wondered the marvelous Civil War monument right here in the middle of the road. What most people don't know, though, is that it's actually the culprit of many accidents that have occurred over the course of the years, such as the May 28, 2018 accident. Dayton Daily News recalls this accident and says that this accident occurred all due to someone who didn't know how to go around the intersection correctly. They weren't sure whether they should stop, they weren't sure whether they should yield, or if they just had the right-of-way, which caused them to hit a motorcyclist and eject him from his motorcycle and cause very fatal injuries. He did not die, but it was still a very serious accident. And this is just one example of the many accidents that have occurred at this intersection in town. A big thing, though, is that it's not only dangerous for those driving, it's dangerous for our pedestrians, our young kids, our students, our elderly people throughout the town. And it's dangerous because a lot of times people don't know how to go around this intersection, causing them to drive out in front of a car and swerve onto the grass or onto the sidewalk where our young children are playing. There is one thing that can stop all this from happening, though. That is, if we as a town agree to implement a stoplight at all 4 corners of this intersection. And now that we've talked about that, let's move on to talk about how we can effectively achieve roadside safety. Achieving roadside safety really isn't that hard, even though very many people think it might be. AARP.org says that the first step to get a traffic light is that you must have an audit done to the section of town that we saw in the picture before. They will do an audit of this intersection and see how many accidents it's caused and stuff like that. And once it's deemed dangerous, you will take this information plus a signed petition of the people that you have that support your cause and want to make a change also to your town's council. You will report all your findings, what the audit says, who's also with you, and you will even state that if they do not agree or if they don't think that this should go any farther, that you will still keep pushing and trying to get a stoplight. Once you have convinced them, you will take this, or they will take this information to the Ohio Safety Council, where they will decide how it will be paid for, who will pay for it, and when it will be installed, and exactly when and where, and some of the logistics that go along with that. And now that we've looked at that, let's talk about some concerns that some of you may have. Some of you may be wondering, well, why should we do this? It's just going to back up traffic. It's just going to make things very crazy and hectic in town. That is not the case, though. The case is that actually before they implement the stoplight, they are going to do another audit, and they will look at to see exactly how many people go throughout the town, how many people go through at certain times of the day, certain times of the week, whether it's day, night, Saturday, or Sunday. They will do a count of how many people pass through there. in order to make sure that the lights change at the certain times that they should, so that traffic does not get backed up. Another concern that some of you may have is that who's going to pay for this? Because you don't want to have to pay for this. And this is where Vicky Kirk's earlier quote comes in hand. Vicky says a lot of times people are afraid to just have to pay for this light, that they're willing to let other people maybe get in an accident or maybe come close to getting into an accident. But the reality is that you actually will not have to pay for this. That's a very positive thing for many of you, and I'm sure many of you are probably relieved. According to NJ.com, you will not have to pay for the stoplight as long as it's on a state route. And if it's on a state route, it'll be pay free. And lucky for us, the intersection, the two roads that create the intersection is State Route 718 and State Route 48, leaving us with just the town and the city to pay for it. Which honestly will probably not happen because it's on the state routes. The state of Ohio will have to pay for it. So now I hope you see that there really is nothing to worry about when it comes to getting a stoplight in our town. It's really not a big deal, but it will help save lives. Now that we've talked about that, let's recap what I've talked about. First, we looked at the dangers of intersections without stoplights. Second, I told you why Pleasant Hill needs to implement a stoplight, and I hope by now you do see that it's a true necessity in our town, and it will only bring us benefits. And finally, I showed you how we could properly implement road safety just by allowing us to simply have a simple yellow, green, red light. Now, I want you all to go back to your Sunday drive scenario in your head. Whatever that may be for you, it may be with your friends, it may be with family, you may be talking, you may be eating, or just listening to music. Whatever it is, I hope it's a good memory, and I hope it stays a good memory. And now, imagine how much safer you're going to feel knowing that a simple green, red, and yellow light can save your life. It'll ensure that others abide by the laws and others make you safe, and others continue to make your life safe. For those of you that have any more questions, please let me know after this presentation, and thank you for watching.